Welcome to the Services Network for the month of October. I hope everybody is ready to hear a little bit more from your own colleagues and to hear a couple updates and some new dates that are coming up, because we're going to have some people come with us and we're going to be meeting in person. A lot of stuff's happening. So today we're going to chat about all of that. And welcome aboard. We did the train last year. I like the train. I think it should be the mascot for the program, but we need to continue to tell Sue about that. But there's other things that we got to handle first. But yes, welcome aboard. We're going to have a good time because we're going to connect and we're going to support one another. We're going to take a moment and we're going to chat about our feelings a little bit, right, on the chat. And I know everybody participated last time and we're going to do it again. We're going to have Elpidia from ESU 9 share with us a little bit about herself. We'll get to meet her a little bit. It's her first time here, so I think she's ready for it. We're going to have our best practice time with Alma. Alma's coming back to share with us a little bit about her kind of best practice when it comes to networking and the things that she's done in Lexington, which if you go to Walmart or anywhere at the taco stand and you ask for her name, everybody knows her in Lexington, just an FYI. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Eventually, we're going to get to our connect time where you all will have a chance to chat with one another. We'll get put into random rooms. I do this time have a couple questions that you guys can go through, but you don't have to. I would prefer that you guys just chat within yourselves, get to know each other, ask any concerning questions or what's going on. But those questions will be available if you need them as per request. And then I'll give you guys some updates. And then we have the exit ticket, and that's all we have for the day. So we'll go ahead and get started with our first item, which includes a moment where we can take a deep breath, a moment where we get to think about how we're feeling. We are now, depending which school you're in, a couple months into the school year, not the job for some, yeah, but into the school year. Feelings change, things get different. We have more kids that we're meeting with. Maybe we are just barely starting to meet with some of the kiddos, but take a moment, think about it. Let us know, how are you feeling right now after a couple months into the school year? Go ahead and if you want one word, a sentence on the chat so we can all see, that would be awesome. How are we feeling? We got busy, but great. Oh, nice, nice. Good, almost through the first 9 weeks. Okay, so you got 9 weeks. There you go, so more than a couple months. Nice, excited. Okay. Not as nervous as we did before. Rosa, I see, I feel you. Okay. Energetic and enthusiastic as we started in August. Good to know. Okay, a little easier. Oh, yes, for some of us, huh? Parent-teacher conferences. Do you guys have a role in that? I feel like some of us do, some don't. Those are long, right? Those are long. My wife had them. I had to spend time with my kids. Who does that, right? Yes, I'm enjoying a second week of work. Oh, yeah. Ingrid, welcome. Yeah, I see you. Mucho gusto verla. Perfect. If you guys will continue to answer on there, we'll continue with our program for the day. And the first item will be that we will hear from the one and only first person from ESU 9 to really share during this time. Well, I guess other than me, but Elpidia, I'm going to put you as the showcase so everybody can see you. But as I do that, I call her Elpi because she allowed me to. I'll let her tell you about herself. But yeah, Elpi, talk to us. Tell us about yourself as I put you for the screen.
Hi, everybody. Yes, my name is Elpidia Novoa. I'm a social worker and I work for the ESU 9 as a service provider. I am a mother of 2 kids. I have some learning disabilities, but that didn't stop me from graduating from college. I graduated in December last year. What else? Do you want me to go over the question that you sent me, Cesar?
We'll go one at a time. We'll take it easy. We'll take it easy. Tell us, how long have you been working with us?
I started working with ESU9 in May, yeah, May 31st.
In May, nice. How's it feel so far?
A little overwhelmed, but excited too, because I'm learning a lot, especially I never had worked on the rural community. And so that's new for me. So there's some challenge, but also I'm just happy to learn to learn from the communities and learn from the families too.
Yeah. So you said it's your first time working with rural communities. Where were you working with before?
Yes, I used to work for the Lincoln Public Schools for 13 years. I was one of the bilingual liaison for the for the Lincoln Public Schools, and I was able to work with elementary, middle school, and high school. So I wrote a lot in Lincoln, and then 3 years back, I moved to Hastings. So I mean, I also had work here in Hastings in the past too. So, but Lincoln for most of the time.
Nice, nice. I think you knew Rasha, right? You guys already knew each other from MEP?
I just met her during the migrant conference.
Oh, funny. Well, there you go.
She moved before I started, so
Oh, but you
then
guys
we
now
met
became
at the
working together.
conference.
Yeah, that's nice. That's funny how that works, right? That's
Mhm.
But
awesome.
I knew Monica.
Oh, okay. There we go. That's where, because I was like, I thought you had a connection there. You did, you did. So you've been now, it's been 5 months, right? 5 months. I think I'm doing the math right. What do you think so far about kind of your role now? Do you feel like this is a position for you? How are you feeling?
Yeah. Well, my passion is working with minority communities, and especially communities that are vulnerable. And I always had worked with the Latino community, and I love it. I can use my Spanish, and but also I love that I able to work with other communities that English is not their first language. So I feel like I can relate it with them in many ways, because when I came to the United States when I was 14 years old, I didn't know any English. So I feel like that's what I like. Also, just something that I want to always do to give to the community back. Also my dad and myself were migrant workers in one point, and I feel like it was a calling for me to be in this place for now, and serving families.
Mhm.
And my values and beliefs go hand by hand, hand by hand with the migrant program mission. It's
Mhm.
about education. I a strong believer that education and information is power, and I feel this is what migrant programs do.
Yes, you put it very beautifully. Yeah. So LP, tell me, what are some of the families that or other languages that you have encountered so far?
Uh, Czechis.
Turkeys? Yeah.
Never worked with families that I work in the past in Lincoln with different languages,
Mhm.
but in this area, I noticed Czechis is a language that mostly kind of like Kozad, Gothenburg, in those areas. Mhm.
Yeah, definitely like a new language, right? That's coming into those areas. I went to school in COSAT for 2 years, but I know that it was not a thing then, right?
Yeah, and Darcy and Persian.
Mm,
We have one family in Kozad that new in Kozad, and I
mhm,
think is a high school student, and
mhm.
I think he's the only one that speak the language.
Yeah, definitely. Great experiences, right? To meet those families, new cultures. Yeah, I think it's awesome. That's awesome. So can you share with us so far in your time with MEP, do you have any kind of stories of success or that you've had with families?
Yeah, going back to families from COSAN, because I've been working very close in there.
Mhm.
I remember it was like after a month being working here, I had to go to the high school in COSAN to help a legal guardian to register a student. And just asking question, I ask, what they need. And this student it was retained from immigration. So the legal guardian, she's very young. She's I think in her 20s, 22, 25 years old, very young, but she decided to sponsor this student. And so they don't have insurance, so the student need the physical shot, hearing testing, because I was able to see the documentation from what he brought from the immigration retention that he didn't pass his hearing test and his vision. So I knew that he needed to do a follow-up with the specialist. So he needed clothes and shoes and all school supplies. So I started learning about the agencies close to Lexington, to COSAT. A lot agencies that I've been working is from Lexington, so which is so nice. And so I started working close with the school nurse. She mentioned that they had an eye doctor voucher, and then I find out that they can do the hearing test at the ESU 10 in Kearney. And so I was able to find out an organization that provide new clothes for high school students. They can just go to Walmart and shop for $100 and they had new clothes. So I was so excited to find all the resources. And so just this week, I found out that he went to the hearing specialist and he need a hearing aid. And that's huge. And because he was struggling in school, and another service that we were providing to him is that we have Emily Diaz. She's a math teacher. She worked for the ESU 9 and she's helping him with math, and so that's one of my happiness, stories that, okay, I did this and I did this, and it's like, I feel like it took a time, but I feel like because I'm learning about the services that are available, but also because it's just the process, the appointments, it takes too long. And also I found out the legal guardian, she's working, but she's also taking CC classes in Lexington. And then I was able to refer her to Proteus. So hopefully she wanted to be a nurse. And so it's like, I just started talking to her and it's like, I think you will be a good fit for Proteus if you qualify, and I can help you. And I think the client that I'm talking about, and they're just sweet family, and they wanted to do well, and I that's what I liked it. They asked questions, and because the student went to see the eye doctor and they said, no, everything's okay, but the legal guardian's like, no, I think he needs another checkup. It's like, I'm not satisfied with the answer. And so good for you, it's like, we will find another place so you can go. It's just like, no, I think he needs something, he needs glasses or something, because his eyes constantly is like crying and itching, and it's like, I think he needs something else. I said, good. And it's like, you advocate for him and I can help with that. So that's my happiness story.
Yeah, I would say those services like add up to each other, right? They go hands together, how you were saying, and they really impact the students so they can complete their schoolwork, right? So they can focus and get back into what they're supposed to be doing at that age.
Yeah, because awesome. She was mentioned that like he struggled in school, and then I start thinking like, well, if he cannot hear, that's huge. For me, that's a huge And it's like, hopefully when the hearing aid, I feel like his learning is going to grow.
Yeah. Well, with that, do you have a story or an area that has been challenging so far when you're helping families in your first 5 months?
I don't have a specific area, but I feel like working with migrant families, there is a challenge on healthcare. Like a lot of the families also have health insurance, and especially on the mental health.
Mhm.
I think that's the biggest challenge that I see. I also feel like working with the rural areas,
Mhm.
be able to find the services that the family need is challenged because of the distance. They may not be in the area available, but they has to drive. And sometimes they don't have a car, or it just the time. For example, I have a mom that she wanted to take her kids to the dentist office in
Mhm.
Arapahoe, but then the dentist is very full, and then her work is from like 6 to 5, and
Yeah.
so she don't have time to go to Kearney, during the week. So she already have appointment, but she has to miss work so she can go to Kearney. And so I think that's the biggest challenge I see, that for me to be able to provide the services they need, but
Mm.
also for the families.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, those rural areas, right? So, I don't know if you can see everybody's faces, but I can. By the way, I can see all of you. Like, does that resonate with you guys in your areas? I know I've had some conversations with some of you. Even I think sometimes in not rural areas, it's those services, right? Finding those services, the resources for those families, and for them to be able to make it right to those appointments. Yeah, it's challenging. Oh yeah, I see you. So can you tell us what has been probably something that you've learned in these 5 months? And I think maybe focus it on like new stuff, because we actually have a few, I'm noticing a few very new service providers. So what is something that you think you have learned in these 5 months that would be awesome to know right when you start with MEP?
Um, I think for me, it's important to learn about what migrant program is and what they offer, and then I can provide the information to the parents. What it has worked for me is that I ask question if I don't understand. I like to ask questions, because I was like, okay, tell me about it. So, and I like to know like what I'm doing is related to the grant, because I don't want to go back and do something and then it's like, oh, sorry, it's not matched the grant. So I really
Mhm.
ask questions like, is this going to count as for the grant purpose? Um,
Is this allowable?
right. Is
Yeah,
that okay? Can I do this?
good question. Yeah, and a question to always be asking. That's a good tip for sure. Well, as we were coming to the last minute of our time, what is something that you would like to just share with the whole group for your last statement?
Um, well, you asked me like to give us some tips.
Yeah.
I also like to hear from who has been working as a service provider for a long time. I wanted to hear about tips. One of the things that I did, I'm glad that this happened to me when I was in town. My car died, and so my husband was able to help me. But then I think, what if I'm in a rural area and nobody can help me? So
Mhm.
I went to the store and got a battery that they do jam cables. Is that how it called?
Like a jump start?
Yes,
Mhm.
Jumpstart. And so I was so happy. I put in my card, and then this week I showed to one of my colleagues at work. He's a male, and I said, "Oh, look, what I have this like." oh, you bought the wrong one. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, this is to plug in the electricity if there's this that happened to at your home. It's not going to help you if you are in somewhere. And it's like, oh, so I went and exchanged it. So, and then he told me, well, do you know how to use them? And I said, maybe. And I said, it's a red and a black where you can black. Is like, I'm not sure. It's like, okay, I'm going to help you. I'm going to put a sticker, red sticker and black sticker, so you know what to do it. So my tip is like, if you have that in your car, if you don't have one, I think for those who travel a lot will help, because just in case, I also have extra clothes in my car, just in case if I need it. I always carry, I got a pepper spray and just because I wanted to be safe, but yeah, I'm open to hear from other service providers what tips can they provide, because hey, we're in the same team.
Yes, yes, that's a good one. That's a good one. And yeah, I could relate what you're saying. I've seen some people. I mean, even at the workshop, for those that were able to make it, I don't know if you guys noticed as we were walking out, Josh, he's a service provider for me as U7, he was already helping someone else do something to their car. So I mean, we have that, at least I feel like, that culture where we want to help each other, right? So yeah, definitely asking. LP, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure for you to hear from you, and I think everybody has enjoyed you. So let's just give her a round of applause, a virtual round of applause. Thank you so much. Perfect. So that was cool, right? And Zoom worked, so we're good on that part. So we will move on to the next person. And now we have the time we're going to talk about best practice. And with best practice comes tips. And that is why we're having this moment during our services network, so you guys can get an opportunity to learn about some of those things that you guys have tried and has worked. Alma, I don't think everybody knows you, since we have a couple new people. Would you just introduce yourself and then talk to us about your topic?
My topic.
Yeah, you're gonna talk to us about networking.
Yeah. My name is Elena Serra, and I have been working for the migrant program for 22 years now. I started back in August 25th, 2000, and here I am. I've recruited, I've done data, and now I am a service provider. When I think that is my favorite part about migrant, helping the families, getting to know them, they trust you. You do a lot of networking, you knock on a lot of doors, and even if you get the cold shoulder, you still put on a happy face and keep on going, because they'll eventually catch on what you're doing there and why you're there. I have served a lot of families. I have had a lot of success stories that make you feel good, the warm fuzzies, but I also have a lot of cold pricklies. Those are things that you can't avoid, but you have to move on, but you learn from them, and you learn to listen, because when you listen to these families and every little detail, whether you can help them or not, you listen. And when you're out in the community, you might find situations similar, or find a way to help them and say, oh, that family was looking for this. And then you could write, jot it down, come back and tell them, hey, I found you something. They take you more seriously, and they learn to trust you when you do listen, because, when you call them back and say, hey, remember that problem you had? Have you solved it? No. Oh, well, listen, I found this. And they are very appreciative. A lot of these families, they want to give you the world when they don't have it themselves, and you have to have a warm heart and an open ear and empathy to help all these families, because people take for granted what these people don't have. And when you're a child, especially in a school, and your shoes are torn, or you don't have a bed to sleep on, then you have to go in and you worry that your parents, kids listen to people, and they say, they hear, hey, my parents don't have food, or my parents don't have enough for the rent. Where are we going to live? This affects a child. And when they're in school, they are not concentrating on school because they also worry. They learn to grow up faster because they do worry, about the situation. When you don't have a clean pair of clothes, when you didn't have good breakfast, when you don't have enough money for lunch or whatever. So all of this does affect a child's education, you know? So, I mean, you try and help them. And like I said, that's why all the taquerias know me and all the Walmart and whatever other place that I've, because I've been there and I've asked, hey, do you have any of this? Or do you have any of that? Or do you have any samples? Or do you have any ways? And I mean, thank goodness, Lexington is a very, they have a lot. We have like the backpack program, which gives the kids on the weekend something to eat during the weekend. We have the meal kits, which are given to middle schoolers and high schoolers once a month with the recipe and all the ingredients needed, and whatever is like food that could perish, they give them a coupon to go to our local market and get that stuff as well. And hey, if they do the recipe, great. If not, they have that food to make something else. We have the voucher program, which provides families with $10 a week per, like we give them a monthly, but it's $10 per week. So if the month has 4 weeks, they get 40. If the month has 5 weeks, they get 50. And that money goes again to the local groceries to get anything but paper goods and alcohol and tobacco, food. And that helps the families out. I mean, maybe not a lot, but like a lady told me, hey, with $10, I could get a carton of eggs, a package of tortillas, and a gallon of milk. I don't know if they could do that anymore, but that's what, it helps. So we have a lot of services. We're blessed in that way. And I'm happy to be able to help some of these families. And you could see the appreciation. You could see that the little they have, they want to give you back, and they help you out by telling you, hey, there's a new family down my street. So then, so you network with the families and you network with the community, and it's like a link that, you network with the same providers and you find out what could help here and what could help there, what's available in the state and what's not.
Mhm. When you were trying to connect with those resources in the beginning, Alma, what were the first steps that you took?
It's been so long. The backpack program has been for a while, and we heard about the food bank having the backpack program. And they explained to me it would be 2 entrees, 2 like cereal or oatmeal. They explained what came in the little bag for the kids, and it was for elementary grades. But when we talked over the phone, and it came from Lincoln, she said we'll write down the student that's in elementary, but everybody in the family, all the students in the family, or OSYs or children that aren't in school yet, they should all qualify. So you talk to the families, explain what's going to be happening. They're going to get the food bags at the school on a Thursday or a Friday for the weekend. And then they themselves, when they see that it's working, and I fill out that contract every year, before school starts, then they said, hey, we have this. Would you like to try it? Hey, we have this other thing. I'm like, oh, let me bring it to my supervisor and see what they say. And they said, yes, we had a food pantry that was here for a long time, and the school was taking care of it, but now the community is, but we still get food for the families. You learn to talk and have lunch with a lot of the service people here in town. Community Action, we know each other very well. The churches, anything available. We have that L2 for kids, which helps kids that have never used, some of these kids, we don't realize that they don't get to use new clothes when they first start going to school, and this helps. We ourselves provide supplies, school supplies for the kids, and just to see those little eyes bright up, because they're getting a new backpack and new crayons. And there's one little kid that sniffed them. He goes, I love the smell of new crayons, and little things like that. And those are the rewards for a service provider. I have classes on Friday with middle schoolers. We get together, and it's more of a not guidance. It's more, we talk about us. We take a topic, and then we talk about it, and how, like, if they were talking about there's no fun in Lexington. There's nothing to go to. Hey, well, what would you do? And they come up with projects. Every week I get together with them. I get together also with the high schoolers with grades. Hey, do you guys need any help? This is what we need to do. So, I mean, I work with high schoolers, middle school, all elementary as well, but, and the moms and the parents, but I try to do something fun so the kids could come because, you know, and I really do appreciate the middle schoolers do it during their lunch breaks. And the fact that they take that time, that's their time. If they didn't want to come, and I get my little signature sheet and I give them their activity, and some of them are like, Miss, I have homework that I need to turn. Can I take this with me and I'll bring it back next Friday? I go for, you know, they understand and they take off, and I got them back and I have all those papers here and I read them, and some of them make me laugh, some of them make me cry. And then with those papers, I communicate with the counselors if the counselors need to know what this kid wrote, if it's a little bit serious. And I do tell them I won't share them unless there's an issue, that a concern, you know, to earn their trust as well. So,
so if a family, if the family is just starting, right? And you don't know yet maybe what specifically things they need, what is one way that you help them connect to some of the resources that you have already networked with when they first start?
When they come in, I explain to them what the program is. I explain to them why they qualified. And the first thing I do is show them Power School. That's so they could check on their children's grades. I show them the codes they need to do. And I ask them, is there anything you need? How's your kid doing in school? Does he have everything he needs, supplies? Do you live, are you doubled up? Do you live by yourself? Hey, how's your, you know, and they, at first they're a little like, you know, they don't, you need to kind of warm up. And then once they start telling you, well, you know, I live with my aunt, or I live with a family member and I really would like my own place. Oh, here, let's set up an appointment and we're going to do, we'll fill out a HUD application. And I have a renters list of all the renters in Lexington, and we give them I don't know if you've seen, we give them one of these packets. I'm glad I have one here that I haven't turned in. We give them one of these packets. It's a welcoming packet, and it comes with my card in it. It comes with all the numbers of the schools, a list of all the services that are in Lexington, along with a copy of their COE, so they know how they qualified, and a welcoming letter that I have our numbers on. We have all the different schools, so they know what the schools look like. And you give them this, and they enjoy getting something back. And then we just tell them, you know, we're here if you need us. If not, I'm going to be bugging you and finding out if you need anything. We explain to them the waivers that we have for sports. If the kids are interested in sports and they don't qualify for Medicaid or don't have the money or insurance to get a physical for sports, we provide a waiver that we all sign, and I take all their information down and get them a waiver to pay for their physical. If they need shoes for any sports, I mean, some of these kids want to do soccer, some of these kids want to do cross country. And there was a certain little boy that was doing cross country, and I saw him while he was running, and the shoelaces were about that big, and you could tell that his shoes were not comfortable. And you know, I walked over and I said, I know this kid. I've talked to the parents, and I gave him my card. I go, tell your mom to give me a call. And I told her we could get him some shoes. And he didn't become like the best runner, but he ran with more confidence. It's not fair that, you know, these kids, it's not their fault. They want to try things, you know, all the stuff that's available out there. We try to get the kids involved. It helps them out. Some parents don't. We have to kind of tell the parents, you know, it's not only about the education, you know, having fun will get them to keep going, like doing a sport. They'll keep their grades up because they can't perform. I mean, they can't, you know, go to a meet, a cross country meet or a soccer game if they don't have good grades. So the kids will push themselves. So, you know, at first when I meet them, we start talking, and then a little by little, they start telling you once they feel comfortable with you and know that it is going to be confidential.
Yes. So you have not only the verbal, right, relationship that you when you first meet them, but you also have a packet, right? You have that packet that you give them. So for everybody else purposes, so they know, how did those packets get together? Who does that?
When I first started working way back in the day, we had a packet, and I would give them out when I would go recruit at Tyson. And after funding and all that, we didn't do them anymore. And then all of a sudden, I kept bringing them up and saying, hey, we used to give these. And then all of a sudden, Marnie, my boss, said, hey, let's try and start with this. And we started giving them out again. So I give those out to all the family. When I get a new COE, I get a packet. Give them a call to make an initial visit and set up an appointment either in my office, or I ask them if I could go to their house, give them the packet and explain the program to them. And that's how we start. You know, some people have left and came back and know who I am. They won't get a packet again, but they'll get to see me again.
No,
You know,
no.
I talk to them and tell them, hey, you know, you're back. Do you have the information? If they don't, I will give them copies of the information. I give them my card. You know, I explain to them whatever they need. If they wanted to do something, or, you know, we have a preschool for 4-year-olds that's all day, and some families love it, and some kids are like, no, they're too little. And I explain to them it's a really good program. They'll come out that much more ready for kindergarten. We have transportation for a certain amount of kids that if they're migrant. So that helps. That helps. But you know, there were one of the families I remember, this man was here with his daughter, and they were the only two here. And he lived on the north side of town, and our preschool's on the south side of town. And it was snowing, and he was on a bike. They didn't have transportation, and he would put his little one on the handlebars and make it to the preschool. And there was people calling saying, you know what, it's snowing, my kid's not going. I go, if this man could make it all the way from the north side over the bridge and take his daughter to school and pick her up, you could take your kid to school. Come on. You know, he was determined that his little one was going to get the education she needed.
Good example. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. As a person who's falling off the bike in the snow, I agree. I agree. So, Alma, we are coming to our time. Any final thoughts that you would like to share?
I'm always here if you ever have any questions, but I really, really believe that all the service providers are put there for a reason. I do believe they all listen and have an empathetic heart, and you know, we're out there trying to help these families. And I know that when my families are going to leave to Grand Island, or they're going to move to Gothenburg, or they're going to move anywhere else, I make sure that the recruiter and we all kind of need to connect and know these and say, you know, hey, this family is going to be needing this or that. Always having an open ear and always being very empathetic, whether it has to do with your job or not. Listen to them, because if they're telling you, it's because they're screaming for the help, you know. And these kids, you know, consider themselves, I mean, some of them don't speak the language. That's hard. That's a hard thing to do. They walk into the school and don't speak the language, and they're trying to show them, and they're confused. They're not in their own environment, and they're trying to adapt. But you know, you have to have a empathetic ear and talk to the teachers as well. I've talked to several that didn't understand what the migrant program is, and they understand it now, and they'll call me and say, hey, this kid, I feel so bad. And you know, it's about understanding their situation. They're young, they shouldn't have to have all this burden on them.
For sure. Everybody, this is Alma. Let's give her a round of applause, please. Thank you. I hope everybody heard what she said, right? Like, your role matters. And someone has a question for you. So let's go ahead. I think it's LP. You have a question for Alma, you said? Let's get going. What's your question?
Hi, Alma.
Hi.
You mentioned about the waiver for the sport exam. Is that only in Lexington, or all schools can do that?
This happened a while back, and it should be for all schools as far as they've told me. You know, I have one, and it's in our Power School page.
Because the student that I mentioned in COSAT,
This is the waiver we have for Lex.
for Lex. I
And
wonder if COSAT have similar than that.
It should, because I know it's statewide. I don't know if it's nationwide. I know it's statewide, and you fill out the whole paper, and they don't have to be migrant, but you know, since I work with a migrant, but they do have to qualify for free lunch to be able to get it.
Oh, nice.
Can you,
Go ahead.
can we get a copy of that just to see what it looks like? Is there any way that
I
that
am
maybe
going
Cesar
to,
could put
yeah.
it in our something. So I also have not seen it before.
Okay, I am going to scan it and I'll email it to Cesar so he could share it with everybody. You know, that way, I mean, you could find something similar. I think, I mean, it is statewide. I know that all the, because this happened a while back. I remember some people complaining about a mom saying, hey, I don't have money for my kids going to doing sports or playing an instrument. And they filled this out and it helped. Like I said, with sports physicals, shoes, as far as I know, that's, you know, like any kind of accessory. The instruments, I think they could only borrow them from the school and have to turn them at the end of the school year, you know, but everything else, I will fax, I could scan this and fax it to, or email it to Cesar or to all of you, and, you know, you guys could ask, because I know that it is state, at least statewide.
Mhm. And one thing to also know, just to adding to it, so you said, right, if they qualify for free and reduced lunch, so if they're part of our program, you guys are
Yeah.
aware, right? They're part, they have free and reduced lunch, so loophole, so it
Yeah.
should work.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. That's how I've been able to get, I mean, you know, a little something for them, and it's theirs. They don't have to give it back, you know?
Mhm. Yes, yes, yes. Perfect. Well, let's give her another round of applause because she answered her question. Thank you, Alma. We always appreciate seeing you, and I get to see her a little bit more often because she's in Central. Sorry, everybody else, but I do get to see you guys sometimes. Now we are gonna be moving into our breakout rooms, where we are gonna be chatting with another service provider about, really, remember, this is a time to connect and support. One thing that has been requested before, right? This is still a time for you to just chat, troubleshoot, whatever you guys need. Today we have about 10 minutes, but I have also put some questions together in case any of you needed some guidance. I know that was requested before. So if you guys want those questions, that's the bit.ly. If you guys don't know what a bit.ly is a way for me to give you a link in a way shorter way, and I get to put what it is called. So this one is called bit.ly/MEP_SNQ. And this is, you have to, it's cap sensitive. So make sure to put those as they are. And I will break it into rooms in about 15 seconds. So get comfortable. This probably, if you don't have a camera on, I think it'd be kind to have the camera with the other person. It's just you two, so don't be shy. It's just be two people. If you're not in a room, or if you're in a room with one of your colleagues and you're like, hey, yo, we just chatted 5 minutes ago, I will move you. I know for the most part where everybody is. So if I don't do a good job, just give me a holler. So we will get set to rooms in the conversation later. But few of the updates. We have some changes in dates, and there were so many changes that it's much easier if I just give you the new ones. And the calendar on Google is updated, the one pager is updated, and the app, which we'll talk about in a second for those that don't know about it, is updated. So everything is already on there, and we should be good this year and not have extra PD dates on the calendar. I promise you, I'm working on that very hard. But in October, next week, we have the first ever hybrid PD in Buena Vista High School. So our Omaha peeps and anyone that's close, really, you're gonna be able to get together in person. And we're not only gonna be at a new school, thanks to Letty, shout out, I see you. We're gonna be at a nice new school, and we're gonna be able to chat with Veronica about family engagement. She's gonna touch on FACE, PAC, Stay PAC, and kind of answer our questions. So if you do anything with parents, which we all kind of do, that's going to be a great place for you to learn more and ask those questions. So we will see you in person and on Zoom next week on Wednesday. There is a registration that you need to complete. It's a Google form pretty quick. That was scheduled to be sent to you during this meeting. So after this meeting, you have the link directly on that email, and it is on your app. So for those that have access to the app, everybody should, you have the information on there. November, there will be no services network because we have replaced the date for a PD focus in the Nebraska standards for EL students and instructional strategies from our very own NDE person.
Benjamin.
No, I got you. It's not Benjamin. Her name is Ann Hubble. She's also from NDE. Don't worry, we'll hear from Benjamin. Just watch it. So yeah, we're gonna have Ann Hubble. She's gonna be chatting with us about those standards. I had a 10-minute conversation about standards with her. And I don't have a teaching background. So I was just like, huh, that answers a lot of things from that I didn't know. So for everybody, that's gonna be a great PD as well for you. If you offer any kind of support, even if it's not instructional, I think this is going to be a great session for you. That's November. December, we have a services handbook PD, which will be provided by our very own from NDE. Say it again, Emily.
Benjamin.
Yes, it'll be from Benjamin. So Benjamin started and led the effort to create the services handbook, which will be the base and is the base and the foundation for our online training that it's going to be completed in the next several months for new staff. So if you're a new staffer this year, you might still want to take that training. It'll be on Canvas, but he's going to chat with us about not only the process, but what the services handbook is and how we can use it even as very, not seasoned, that's a good word, but very experienced service providers. You will be able to also take something from this. That will be on December 2nd at 9 a.m. This is the only one that's a different time. They're usually at 11, as you guys have been noticing, but this one will be at 9 a.m. on a Friday. So for those Panhandle peeps, it will be at 8, sorry, but I would love to see everybody there. And this one will only be on Zoom. See you guys then. Then in January, oh yeah, we do have a services network in December. That will be the last one for 2022. And it'll be fun. We'll try to make it Christmas theme or holidays theme. We'll get to that. January, we will have the first ever, which we haven't done this. We didn't do this last year, but now we're going to fight the weather and we're going to schedule it and we're going to hope it works. But in January, we're going to get together and we're going to have a PD over student engagement provided by a person that works with CoolSpeak and empowering student leaders. And does a lot of work with MEP in Omaha, or Omaha peeps know him, and a lot of you have met him throughout the years. He's done camps, he's done presentations, but now he's gonna do a specific training for us in person, focus in student engagement. Juan Cangas, he will be our speaker. I'm very excited to have him do that for us, and we're gonna do that in 2 different locations. So unfortunately, not everybody's getting together, but we're gonna be meeting in North Platte, and we're going to be meeting in Lincoln. There are different dates. So please, the registration is already provided to you. It's on the app, but I will be sending an email out soon about it so you can register and get all that figured out. We would love to see everybody there because after this PD, which will be a 4-hour PD, there will be a lunch break, so don't worry. But after that, we're going to actually be going through some scenarios for our service codes. So our data specialists from each project will also be invited. And Danielle and myself will be there guiding us into a discussion of different scenarios of services that you provide, instructional or support, and how those can be coded. So we're gonna be all in that conversation. So if you don't know your data specialist yet, you'll be able to see them during that PD. And it'll be a great time to answer any questions. I will say from now on to prep you, we got to come with an open mind. We got to come with a mentality, a growth mindset mentality, right? We want to get better. We want to make things to improve, not only for the guidance, which we have to follow, but for the sake of our students. Can we agree with that? We always want to serve them better. So let's make sure that we are doing it right with the guidance and that we're working together towards it. So that's going to be the second discussion in person that day. And I see a question that's going to be starting at 9 a.m., not at 8. So that way we have a little bit more of a driving time. But 9 a.m. to 3:30, that's what we have scheduled so far. We'll send a detailed agenda for that day in a couple of weeks. We're not going to send all that now so you don't get stressed, but everything is confirmed. We have locations. I'm really excited because then I'll get to see you guys in person again. Well, half of you one place and half of you in another place. So start thinking where it's closer. Maybe North Platte, maybe it's Lincoln. Check it out, and I'll send that detail soon. Those are the updated dates that I wanted to share with all of you right now. But as mentioned, we have a services app, and for those that already have it, Everything, all the Google Forms, all of these dates are on there. You can already register. You could be ahead of the game if you look at the app and open that up. If you want to, or you can wait for the emails, which they will happen, but know that that's the first place that gets updated if you ever have any questions. Any questions on the app? Most of you know. If you don't have it yet and you have more questions, we'll chat about it because I know some are new people probably haven't had a chance to learn about this. And finally, today's recording, last month's recordings, and the PDs from last year and the future PDs will be housed in the Services Video Hub, which is just simply a place where all the YouTube videos are put together and just there for you. This link will be on the NDE website soon, but guess where you can find the link right now? On the app. Yes, on the app. So the link's already available under resources. If you want to go back and look at it, if you want to come back and look at yourself here, I don't know, that it will be available on there. And I believe that the last thing is, I have been meeting with a lot of you one-on-one. Remember, this is not something that is required by any means, but it is an awesome time that I get to not only get to know you a little bit more. I think Rosa had a good time, right, Rosa?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, there you go. She said yes. I think she was forced, but that's okay. I had a great time with her. We got to just chat. I also had an opportunity to schedule ride-alongs after these meetings. So I got to visit Valentine, Nebraska. Tammy already left, but I got to see her in person, and that came after that conversation. So if you want to continue to work together and for me to learn more about you and what are some of the needs and just have a good time, please schedule an appointment with me. You can find that link on my email. This link is on the slides, which you have access to, and I can send you that. By no means is required. Remember that. It's just for your support if you would like to. Last thing, so you guys can get out of here and get all your stuff done, is we have to get out of the train, but we have to do an exit ticket because it doesn't work out. You can't just get out. You need to do that exit ticket. And the link is on the chat. You can also take a picture and a reminder. Our next services network will be in December. And that day we'll have Norma from Head Start do our celebration talk. And I'm waiting for confirmation from someone from 13. I'm waiting for her to confirm. Maybe she did confirm. Not yet. But once she confirms, she will be during our best practice time. Any questions, stories, jokes for the group? Oh, she said, yes, it's confirmed. Perfect time. I had asked her a while back, but she never confirmed. So Tammy Miller will be talking during the best practice time in December. That was perfect timing. I'm going to tell her. She'll see the recording if she looks back. That's all I have for you guys. If you guys complete the exit ticket, there is nothing else. I'm always available, or I will make time to be available. Remember, we're here to support you if you ever have questions or concerns. And with that said, have a great Friday, everybody.
For your weekend. Nice to always